Last month, The Real News brought you the story of how students at a Baltimore high school staged a mock trial for the Freddie Gray case. It came a year after Freddie Gray was killed in police custody. The 25-year-old's death was felt deeply by the students at Reginald F. Lewis High School. Even though 6 officers were charged with Gray's death last May, not a single verdict has been returned in the case. The trial of Officer Edward Nero is set to begin this week. He faces charges of second-degree assault and has pled not guilty. Well, I'm now joined in studio by 8 students from Timothy Freese's 10th grade Law and Community Justice class. So David, let's start with you. You were a defense attorney in the trial of Officer Goodson that we came to your class and filmed. Talk about what this process meant for you. And it all came a year after Freddie Gray was arrested and then died in police custody.
Well, for me, it was a meticulous examination of how the legal system worked, and we were picking it apart piece by piece and seeing how we try to achieve justice now.
You actually read through all the legal briefs, you read through the medical examiner's report. Talk a little bit about what the process involved.
It involved finding out the facts, reading the autopsies, picking and choosing through witnesses, seeing whose word was credible.
Freddie Gray's arrest and his death and the protests and everything else that happened, it all touched you pretty deeply, right? It all changed your perspective on the city and your lives and growing up. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Living in Baltimore for me, as far as getting the education, it's kind of harder because being a minority and being in a urban area, it's kind of different than getting our education at a higher class school, and it's for most of us feel hey, we're scared because what happened to him can happen to any one of us.
Us giving a chance to reenact the case gives people hope and actually be able to see what they want to believe will happen in the case rather than something they see piece by piece. We give the chance to let you see everything that goes on rather than piece by piece.
Right, because in Maryland, cameras aren't allowed in courtrooms, right? So what you're hearing, what the public's hearing about the case, it's filtered through reporters and journalists. So you don't actually, unless you're physically there, you don't get to actually understand what's going on. How does the media portray young black men in this city, like Freddie Gray?
I feel like they portray us all as a threat, and although I feel like they portray us by a threat, by association as well, by looks. Because, to me, I feel as though looks can be deceiving. Just because I look like a drug dealer does not necessarily mean I am a drug dealer. And I
don't think you look like a drug dealer.
Thanks, I appreciate it. But I feel like because I've been picked on a couple times by the police that walked down the street and asked me about selling drugs. I'm like, no. So I do feel like your looks have a lot to do with it.
Were you in your neighborhood, or where were you when this happened?
I was actually downtown, down the street, walking.
Yeah, you're just walking, and police thought you were selling drugs.
Mm-hmm.
How did that make you feel?
It made me angry because I don't think they would like it if I walked up to them do you feel like killing a black person today? You look like you ready to kill a black person today. That's how it's to me, disrespectful and really threatening, you know what I'm saying? Because the police aren't supposed to harass you. They're supposed to serve and protect, and they're doing the complete opposite. And I feel like not enough people care about that. When I get into a midst of a lot of police, I feel like I gotta watch my back. You know what I'm saying? I gotta feel like I can't let my guard down because you might shoot me, you know what I'm saying? If I'm reaching in my pocket to get my phone, get some money in my pocket, you're gonna shoot me. So I'm more aware, and more than that, I feel not really safe when I'm in the midst of the police.
What does justice mean? And how did this case and being involved in the trial affect what that means, that word justice?
But sometimes it's not fair. It's a lot of innocent people sitting in jail for crimes that they didn't commit.
Especially in Baltimore, would you say?
Yeah, especially in Baltimore.
Why do you think that happens?
It's all just based on where you are at the wrong time, or just because one of the gentlemen can walk down the street and look like another black person who committed the crime, and they will go to jail for that.
If they fit the description.
If they fit the description. So it's just all about where you are in the right time or the wrong time.
So after going through this whole process, what would you change in our justice system today in Baltimore to make it more fair, to make it easier to get justice?
I would put more responsible people in the right place, because I always feel like the most important positions in life get given away to the corrupt people, because either they get swayed by money or some type of materialistic thing that just sways them from doing the right thing, and then everybody's going down the hill with everybody else. I don't think that's fair, because you make selfish decisions and everybody else has to pay for it. Or you know what I'm saying? Because I really think as a police job, your job should not necessarily just be to shoot and kill. You should also have to be able to inspect the situation if need be, or talk to certain people before you just, because I just feel like most of the police in Baltimore are just gun happy. Like, they just want to shoot people.
But at the same time, would you say that police in Baltimore have a tough job too? Just
Don't
to
make
play
it
devil.
easy for 'em.
Yeah.
We don't make it easy for them
Yeah.
at all. But I still feel as though you're put in a place to do the right thing, and you should do your job. I mean, because they know most of the time, some of the officers know that when they become police, it's not going to be an easy job. So my thing is, don't become a police if you're not ready for the challenges and the hardships that are going to come your way.
And so, you know, we've interviewed the Baltimore Police Union several times before, and their main argument is that they should get the benefit of the doubt because they're putting their lives on the line. You know, they're risking it to protect the community. Therefore, they should get more rights. Like, you know, in Maryland, they have the Law Enforcement Officers Bill of Rights. So if police are accused of a crime, they get more protections. They get protections that no one else gets, right? They have 10 days before they have to talk to an attorney. But there's been efforts to change some of that, right? To make it more equal treatment between officers and citizens. Do you guys think that is right? You think police have too many rights?
I think they get away with too much.
Yeah.
Because not this. No, I don't think. I think everything should stay the same about them except for the way they carry things. Because, like I said, they carry things like they so much above us. But at the end of the day, you go home to your family. You eat the same way you do. You know, we all use the daily basic bodily functions the same way. So why would you want to see yourself? Why would you want to be higher than anybody else? Like, you should want to be able to be close to the citizens so you can think like them, so you can know what they experience. Why would you want to be anywhere higher than that?
And, you know, there's a push to make it so police officers have to live in the city because something like 70% don't even live in Baltimore, the police officers here. Do you want to?
Well, about the living in Baltimore, like the reason most of the police that don't live in Baltimore are like gun happy, like he was saying, they don't see what's going on in the city. They don't know about the stuff that happened. Like he was saying, like, you can't just classify him as a drug dealer just because he look like he's doing something wrong. If you live in the city, you know, oh, he's actually one of the better kids that's not doing anything.
From our viewers have asked if this process encouraged any of you or made you think about running for office or participating in the legal system, or yeah, go ahead.
After all the situation that's going on, it just has inspired me to go be a part of the Innocence Project, where I'm gonna look at all the evidence and stuff. Like, oh, this man is wrongly put in jail, but I feel as though the people that's already not necessarily people that's in the Innocent Project, but the people that's in the government just don't care. Like, they're in jail. But me joining that is going to give me a chance, or give them a chance to live their life, basically.
This process would make me want to go be a judge, because it's like so many judges these days waste their time on petty cases that last for hours, and you putting a person that's dealing drugs in jail for 30 years versus somebody that just killed somebody that's probably like 4 years. I would definitely change that around. Dismiss some of these cases that don't even need to be in the courts.
We're talking about the war on drugs and how people get locked up for
Just drugs.
possession or whatever.
And even if the amount be so little, so it's just like, why are you penalizing them so much for something that's little rather than somebody that just killed somebody out here?
One crucial thing, I feel like people should be more educated about their rights. Like, if for justice to be achieved, I think like the everyday citizen should know like their basic rights and how to handle yourself when you're being approached by police, because like I think that'll reduce like how police officers portray themselves as above you. If you know their limitations and like what they're like capable of and how like how you should carry yourself, then that'll cut down on like the harm you pose to yourself, like by giving a police officer like certain attitude or something. And it could potentially like keep you out of jail for like something silly.
I kind of feel like we need better police officers. So those two choices have been on my mind, because I feel like if I don't mean to say breed, but I guess a new breed of police that have the right, they have the head on right, that know right from wrong, and they know that I have the power to do wrong, but I'm still gonna do right. I kind of feel like if we had more police like that, that the police attitude and their actions and stuff like will change, and people will start to see police different. Because I feel like if they see that not all the police are the same, and one police doesn't use his gun in a situation, or one police actually speaks to people, good morning, can I help you get into your car, are you okay? I kind of feel like people will begin to see police in a new light.
Well, that brings up another question from our audience, and they wanted me to ask you, do you think violence and gang activity are caused by poverty and unnecessary unnecessary drug laws? If so, does that make even well-intentioned police officers' jobs difficult? So even if you are a good cop, you're part of this system, right? You're part of enforcing these drug laws that are going to you're going to be clashing with people. It's going to be your job to kind of crack some heads, to kick in some doors, right?
Indeed, you're gonna have to be tough out here on the streets. But just because you over east and you have a shootout, don't mean the same thing's gonna happen when you over west side. It's okay to be cautious no matter where you go, but you don't have to be an outrageous cop just shooting everything because you've been through one incident. It's either you take some time off and get yourself together, or don't become a cop.
I was saying that, I 100% agree that the violence is definitely caused by unnecessary laws and poverty, because people trying to, like, if he don't have nothing else to do, he's gonna resort to selling drugs, and as a result of selling drugs, he's gonna get into arguments and fights and stuff. And like, it's definitely gonna, like, if they had a chance, I feel as though like the government is trying to keep the minorities oppressed, like they're trying to keep us down, and like we're gonna resort to crime and selling drugs and gang wars and stuff.
You're going to have to eat, right? No matter what, right?
No matter what, you're gonna have to try to eat, get your money.
I kind of feel like Setchel said, the government does push a lot of people against the wall because they don't give us much of a choice. And then when we do what we can, or the only thing that we know, the only thing that we feel is there to do, we get prosecuted. I'm not saying selling drugs is the appropriate way, but if we can't get a legal job, what do you want us to do?
Like he's saying, just because like a child is sent to jail for selling drugs, it don't mean he's a bad kid. I mean, he's trying to get money, trying to survive, and then when he get out, he's not gonna be able to get a decent job. So that's gonna make him resort going back to selling drugs and doing the same thing that got him arrested.
Going back to the war on drugs, well, like, I recently came across like a quote from a member of the Nixon staff saying they knew that they couldn't like specifically target minorities just because of the color of their skin, but they wanted to get them off the streets, like just in prison. So they put these drugs in the communities, and then they make them illegal. So that way, like, those people are targeted, and they have a viable reason, like, to put them in jail. And yeah.
And that was like a front page story in Harper's Magazine a few months back, and that was and he was saying this was a direct response to the civil rights movement, right? So they wanted to keep like black people in line, essentially. And even though they know that drug use is actually higher in white communities than black communities, they were going to do all the enforcement in the black communities as a way to throw people in jail en masse.
Yeah, and then it's like, just because the color of your skin and maybe you have a hood on, like, you're more likely to get picked out. It's not that you're doing anything specific to like this has become a social norm, and this is like I don't know how to get rid of it. I don't see it. I don't know.
It's kind of like anything else. Selling drugs is really like a competition because you have certain people who are more successful in a drug dealing game versus people who aren't. And I feel like, and then kind of that. Besides that, I feel like they do some of the things they do to be able to respond to how the law cracks down on us. Like when we had the riot, that was basically kind of a statement. Some people were doing it for a statement, and some people were just doing it just to do it. But I kind of feel like
What was the statement? The people that were trying to
that
make a
they wanted
statement.
justice. I feel like
Yeah.
that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted for. Because I wanted to do, but I knew that wasn't the right way, so I didn't partake in it. But I do feel like I wouldn't say it's the cause, but it doesn't. But it doesn't help at all towards. It makes more of an issue actually. So, but
You think the protest should have been, or there shouldn't have been protests?
it should have been
Yeah.
have been a protest, but it shouldn't have got as wild as crazy as it did
Mhm.
because I feel like it would have made a peaceful protest would have made more of an effect. But
You think it would have gotten as many headlines if they were?
that's what I was going to say. Probably not because that's what the media likes, drama and stuff like that.
And the crazy thing is the media didn't like they depicted Baltimore City because of those riots as a horrible place to live in. And the sad part is they never said anything about how it started off as peaceful protests and how it escalated because of police and like both parties, like both sides, escalated because of both of them, not just the people. And the way the media depicts it is that like the media said it was like all of the people, like people doing it. They ain't say nothing about it starting off as peaceful protests or anything.
It's basically making it seem like police is just killing just to kill, but it's basically not like that. Police are supposed to serve and protect, but now it's making it like police just want to kill, and black people are just black on black crimes, and it's giving a bad look for black people, and while us black people is killing each other, it's making it look like white people are like looking better. And I wanted to like speak on that. Like black people is killing each other. What is making us doing is making us look bad as people is because we can't how can I say this? It's not a better chance for us. And it's just
People feel trapped.
I feel as though we're trapped and we are afraid and we're hurting, and that's why we was riding. We wanted justice. We wanted to be heard. We didn't have to be heard stomping on police cars, beating other people, stealing out of malls. We wanted to be heard. We wanted to fight, and basically that's what it was. Meaning was.
The riot, like we wanted justice, and I could say like if we would have done it in a better way, it wouldn't have happened the way it did. See, like I also think is
Saying the reason people were so upset is because there's a long history of getting no justice, right?
Yeah, they was upset because the way how the cops handled what they did to Freddie Gray and the way they killed them, and I guess we was just we wanted justice and we ain't get it.
I wanted to say, like, the riots were necessary. Like, it started off as peaceful protests. No one was hearing us, so we had to get a little dramatic. Had to just like push more. That's all it was. I mean, all I wanted to say was it was necessary, like to get our voices heard. Otherwise, we'd have just been back at square one.
I think the riot that made the cops more afraid of us. I think the riot.
Well, what happened, or I guess what happened afterwards was that there was the, most murders since like 1970 in Baltimore, right? Most murders in 35 years. And some people said the cops didn't want to, arrest anybody because if they got hurt, they might get on trial too, right? Do you guys think that's right, or do you think what do you think? Why do you think there are so many murders? I'm sure some of you might have been directly impacted or had friends or family that are impacted by it.
So many murders in Baltimore.
Well, I'm saying like some people said it's because those cops got charged that the police just backed off, and they stopped like going after people and stopped locking people up.
It's just some cops are actually scared to go in certain neighborhoods because it's so gang controlled that they could get shot. But if it's enforced and you have good cops that actually want to do right rather than being bought off and just bribed, you'll actually enforce and cut down that whole gang activity in that neighborhood if they really wanted to, rather than be scared. But you wouldn't be scared because somebody just by themselves, so you're able to pick on them. You know, go pick on the neighborhoods you're scared to go in. Don't just pick on somebody because they look stereotypic or stereotype. But you know, you can't get that because they don't enforce it.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining us at the Real News Network.